Alright, so this is my MCU TV show rankings. If you have not seen my movie ranking, please go watch that. I think it's pretty good. This is going to come out, I'm not exactly sure when this one's going to come out, but Ironheart may be released, or at least partially released by the time this show comes out, but it will not be included in this ranking because, again, I made this video before it came out. But let's get started here with number 27, The Inhumans. Also, gotta talk about a couple things. I'm not the best critic when it comes to talking about stuff, so I don't have a whole lot of stuff to say, but I'm just gonna give you my personal thoughts. If you don't think I really explained enough, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain stuff. And then I'm not going to talk about every single thing that you see on the screen, but I'm just going to talk about my personal thoughts. So I'm going to have some other stuff up here for you guys to look at if you're interested, but I'm not going to talk about everything because I don't want the video to be super, super long. But Inhumans is definitely the worst show with a rating of a 59.85, so it is definitely an F, right? It's barely an F, judging on normal grading scales, which is obviously bad, right? This movie is bad. Critics gave it an 11, audience gave it a 42 according to Rotten Tomatoes, which they really hated it. It's bad, yeah, but I feel like Marvel MCU has a baseline, and I just don't generally rate things very low, and 59 is still very low for me. Yeah, this show was very bad. My personal thoughts: boring start. It picked up a little bit in the middle, like the middle couple of episodes were actually not horrible, but it had a bad finale, boring plot, no memorable characters, and very, very flawed. I cannot tell you a single character from this show, right? I can now, but we got Black Bolt, Medusa, Gorgon, Luis, Maximus, who's our villain, and then we got Karnak as well. I don't know any of those dudes, right? That show just sucked in pretty much every single way possible, and there's not really much to talk about it. Number 26 is Werewolf by Night, with a score of a 69.3, so very big step up, almost 10 points better than the last one, but I don't really like it. Also, technically not a show, it's a special, but I ranked the specials with these because it makes more sense to rank the specials against the TV shows rather than a movie. You can disagree with that, but I don't really care. But critics gave it a 90, audience gave it an 88, so they really thoroughly enjoyed it. I did not, right? Getting into my personal thoughts here. Interesting concept, right? Talking about werewolves in the MCU, just that alone, seems kind of cool, but I thought it was pretty poorly executed. Very forgettable characters, and I do not like the black and white aesthetic. Okay, I watched this the first time in black and white. The second time I watched it also in black and white, and then I realized, oh, they actually did make a colored version. I like the color version a little bit more, right? I definitely don't like it in black and white. Color version bumped it up a couple points for me, but still it's just not very fun, right? It just seems very boring, right? And very forgettable characters. I cannot tell you a single name of any of these characters, right? Again, right now I can tell you, we got Elsa Bloodstone, we got Barroso, we got Jack Russell, and we got Verussa Bloodstone, who is our villain. Can I remember what they all do in this special here? No, I cannot. Number 25 is Secret Invasion, which, if you watched my last video, this is the project that I'm talking about when I'm saying people don't like Nick Fury in a specific project. That is this one, right? Score of 70.7, which is not horrible just by the looks of it, but again, being the third worst TV show here, obviously was not a very good show comparatively, right? Critics gave it a 53, audience a 43. I'm a little bit ahead of them, but I can agree that it was pretty bad, right? Going into my personal thoughts, interesting concept, right? You got a Nick Fury-led TV show, which, in theory, should be good in itself, right? Because Nick Fury is amazing in pretty much every other thing he is, every other thing he does, right? You also have whatever it's called, a Skrull takeover, right? It seems cool, but it wasn't. It was very poorly executed. There's nothing of substance in the show. It feels very bland, right? It's there. It has hype. I was very hyped. I watched the trailer for this show. I was hyped. Watched episode 1. All the hype was dead. That's pretty much all I gotta say. It disappointed me a lot. Main characters here, of course, we have Nick Fury. We got Gia. I don't know how to say that, but Gia is what I'm going with. You got Mariah Hill. You got Talos. You got Gravik, who's our villain. Then you got Everett Ross. Number 24 is going to be She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I give this a score of 71.17. So again, not very good, but it was actually pretty solid at times. I remember the first time I watched this show, right? I hated it. On rewatch, I don't hate it anymore, but I definitely still don't like it. Critics give it a 79, audience a 32, so very, very split perspectives there. Critics are like, okay, it was solid. Audience is like, nope, this sucks. I mean, it does suck, but it was also solid. Like, I feel both things. Like, it wasn't good, but parts of it were actually half decent, right? I also want to mention it had 26 minutes per episode, so I think that's one of the shortest MCU shows on this list entirely, so that's worth noting, I guess. Season 1, well, there's only one season, but whatever. My thoughts of this show. It's not an interesting concept, right? We got a Lady Hulk. I'm just like, okay. Like, okay, I guess. No plot development at all. I don't even feel like any of the episodes actually, like, connect, right? It just feels like one-off episodes that are kind of just doing their own thing. We have mild integration of a plot, but not really. The side characters very much carried the show. We got Hulk, of course. We got Wong. We got Emil Blonsky, and we got Daredevil, right? I love all those side characters. I don't care for She-Hulk as a character at all. Again, looking at our main characters, I kind of just mentioned them all. But we got Jen Walters, we got Nikki Ramos, we got Emil Blonsky, we got Daredevil, we got Titania, who's a villain, we got Todd Phelps, who's also a villain as well. Number 23 is going to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Slingshot. This was kind of a hard one to rank because I kind of debated if I wanted to even put this in the ranking because it's not really a show. It's a very short miniseries with 6 episodes and 22 total minutes of runtime. How am I supposed to rank this, right? So I did give it a score of a 75.95. Like, it was decent, right? It definitely wasn't necessary, but let's get into my thoughts here. Not necessary. Again, I just mentioned that, but it does add some solid backstory to Yo-Yo and offers a solid short story, right? So we get some Yo-Yo backstory in this, kind of off of the mainline Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, and it's okay, right? I don't hate it, but it definitely just didn't feel like it needed to be there. I'm not upset that it's there, and I'm not upset that I watched it. It did not feel like a wasted time, but it didn't really add a whole lot to the overarching story of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Yo-Yo, for that matter as well. Main characters, you only got a few because there's 22 total minutes of the show, right? There's not really much to talk about. Yo-Yo is in here, of course. Victor Ramon is our villain, and we got Daisy Johnson. We got a lot of the regular Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast in this, but Daisy Johnson's the only one that plays really any sort of significant role within this mini-series. Number 22 is going to be another mini-series called I Am Groot. I gave this a score of 77. Also, there was 2 seasons of this show. So we're going to get into my individual season ranking. Season 1, I gave a 77.07. Season 2, a 78.33. So I thought Season 2 was a little better than Season 1. Not that it's really all that important. Critics gave it overall an 89, and the audience gave it a 76. And you can see from season to season, there's not even a critic score for Season 2. Nobody really cared enough, or at least not enough people cared enough, critics at least, to actually rate Season 2. And the audience enjoyed Season 2 just marginally better than Season 1. There's not a whole lot to talk about with this movie. My personal thoughts is we do have some little adventures with Baby Groot, just having fun and discovering things about life. Like, it's fun, it's enjoyable for what it is, but again, I can't really rank it too high just because of what the nature of what it is. And again, Season 1 and Season 2 are basically the same thing, right? It's just Season 2 I thought was slightly better, but it's really interchangeable. This show was fun, but I can't really rank it too high. Our main characters, of course, we have Baby Groot, we have Rocket, and we have Uatu, which I believe is the Watcher's name. We never actually figured out the Watcher's name when watching What If. He was always just referred to as the Watcher, so it was cool to get a name for him in this. Number 21 is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I give this a score of a 78.75. Critics gave it a 94, audience gave it an 81. I mean, it was really enjoyable, right? I don't understand a 94. Like, that seems very odd. It was fun, sure, but it wasn't, like, amazing. My personal thoughts of the special, whatever you want to call it, enjoyable and very funny at times, and a solid holiday watch. It's definitely funny. It is really funny. It's a good Christmas episode to watch if you're, around the holidays and also happen to like Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's fun, but like again, just because of the nature of what it is, I can't really put it above some other shows that actually have some substance to them. So this is where it's gonna lie. Main characters, of course, we have most of our Guardians cast, but in this specific episode, really we have Mantis, Drax, Peter Quill, Groot, Kraglet, and Kevin Bacon, who's kind of the center focus of this whole thing, and he's really fun. Number 20 is going to be Miss Marvel with a score of 80.33. So having this over an 80 is honestly pretty good for this show. Critics gave it a 98. That really surprised me. That's like crazy. Audience gave it an 80, and I pretty much matched them exactly on that one. 98 for the critics is just that baffled me when I read that originally. But moving into my thoughts here. Bland start. It does pick up in the middle quite a bit. There's no clear setup for the finale. Like going into the last episode, I'm like, what direction are we going in, right? But we did have a really good finale, I thought, with good mystery within the entire story, and it definitely teases the Marvel movie with the post-credit scene in episode 6 with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, inside of Kamala Khan's house after she got teleported through Bangle, quantum entanglement, whatever you want to call that. She got teleported into their house, and it was like, whoa, that was cool. But this is a fun movie or a fun show, good mystery with it, and yeah, that's all I really got to say. Main characters here, we got Kamala Khan, Kamran, Bruno, Nama Khan, who is a villain. We got Aisha, and then we got Aramis Knight, who's also a villain, but he's not bad. He's not as bad as Nama Khan. Next is going to be 19 with Echo with a score of an 81.69. The critics gave it a 70. Audience gave it a 59. I mean, I don't understand what the audience is coming from. Like, this was honestly really fun, right? I mean, we have Echo. It's the first, it is the first show of Marvel's Spotlight series, and it only had 5 episodes. Most typical Marvel shows are getting at least 6 to 9 episodes, at least the modern MCU Marvel shows, if you understand what I'm saying. But this one only had 5 episodes, so that's worth noting, I thought. But getting into my personal thoughts, decent all around. It's like, it was solid, okay story. A lot of ASL, American Sign Language, right? Echo is deaf, so we have to, that's a big part of her character is that she is deaf. So there's a lot of sign language incorporated throughout this thing, and I personally don't really know sign language, at least not that much of it. So a lot of my time spent watching this show was having to read subtitles to understand what's going on. And I don't necessarily like that, but again, can't really blame them because that is how the character is, right? It doesn't feel like there's a clear direction for this as well, and there's no setup for the finale, but there is a decent finale, and I do like a lot of the characters in this show, which we're going to talk about right now. We got Maya Lopez. I like her quite a bit. We got Kingpin as a villain, and Kingpin's awesome, right? Kingpin is awesome. We got Henry Black Crow Lopez. He's cool. William Lopez, Cousin Biscuits. He's kind of funny. And then we got Chafa, which is kind of tied into the mystical aspects of this show, and I thought it was pretty solid. Next up is going to be number 18, Luke Cage. So this I gave a score of an 85.22. In individual seasons, I had Season 1 ranked a couple of points ahead of Season 2, which the audience also tends to agree with. We were pretty much close with the critic score, not so much the audience score. But yeah, moving on to my personal thoughts about Season 1 specifically, which again I had as the higher ranked season of the two. Good action, solid story. It's about Cornell Stokes' Cottonmouth. Solid setup for the finale as well, and there's an underwhelming finale though. The setup for the finale was pretty good, but the finale itself, kind of underwhelming. But the characters within this thing, we got Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Mariah Dillard, Shades, Claire Temple, and Cottonmouth, our villain. Love this cast. I love this entire cast. Okay, this was a very fun show. Good action, good mystery, and all that. And I do really like this cast. Moving on to Season 2, a lot of the same stuff, but we do have a bland start to this one, which kind of brings it down a couple of points from the original first season. With a solid back half, there's a good setup and a good finale in this one, which is actually definitely a step up from the first season. But there's not a very progressive story. It doesn't feel like our story is actually moving anywhere. Like in Season 1, it definitely felt like we were moving somewhere with our story. Season 2, not so much. And our characters here are pretty much the same. You got Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Mariah Dillard, Shades, and Claire Temple once again. Then you got Bushmaster, who's our main villain of this show. You can also make the case that Shades and Mariah Dillard are villains, although I mean, kind of, yeah, but they're not like the central villain of our show. Number 17 is going to be What If, with a score of 85.82. Critics gave it an 85, audience a 62. So critics really liked it, audience not so much, but we'll get into why that is later. Okay, individual seasons I had with season 1, then season 2, then season 3. Audience and critics also agree with that order, but the audience really loved season 1 with the 92. Thought season 2 was pretty mid with a 62, and then they hated season 3 with a 33. I thought all of the seasons were actually pretty solid. Season 1 I definitely thought was the best, but again, the season 2 and season 3 were definitely not that far off, but apparently according to the audience score it was. Also worth noting, season 3 was only 8 episodes as opposed to 9, so even it being the worst season, it doesn't actually have as much weight as the first 2 seasons, so it does not drag the score down as much as it should. Next up is going to be my season 1 thoughts. Specifically, we have great individual episodes for the most part. Really fun crossover finale. Okay, basically the whole story of What If. Each individual episode is its own thing. There's not a really big overarching plot. We do have some minor stuff going on with the Watcher in this one and Ultron, but it's like each episode was its own episode, not a really cohesive storyline. Getting into our main characters, we have Captain Carter, T'Challa as Star-Lord. We got Strange Supreme. We got Zombies, which was a fun episode. We got Ultron as our villain, and we got the Watcher, of course. Moving on to season 2, I think I had a good start with a lesser middle on this one. A good end for the most part. Good individual stories. There's too much Captain Carter, though. I'm like, with What If, you have so many characters you can choose from. Why are we bringing back the same character? Like, definitely something they were doing. Like, this was definitely a cognitive decision. They're like, we're gonna make Captain Marvel Captain Carter like the main character of What If and push her as a potential future MCU character. It's like, okay, sure, but like within the context of What If, we don't need to have her as much as we do. Also, they created an entirely new character, not just some old Marvel character that they brought in here that was never seen before in film. No, they created an entire new character, which is very weird, again, within the context of What If. You have all these versions of all these characters that you can just throw in here, and it's like, nope, we're going to make our own. It's like, why? I don't know. But look at our characters here. We got Captain Carter, Nebula, Strange Supreme came back as our villain this one, which he's a really good villain in this show. We got Kahori, who is our new character. We got Hela, and then we got the Watcher, of course, once again. Season 3 is going to be the worst of the 3 seasons, in my opinion, but mostly solid episodes. Some cool Watcher stuff in episode 5 and 6, where he's kind of like, I don't know how to say this the best way, but he's kind of like breaking the laws, breaking the code of the Watcher, and so he's getting basically fired or killed or something. It's kind of weird what's going on, but there's a good 2-part finale in this one and a good cast reunion, but it is very female heavy. Not that that's necessarily a problem, but we have plenty of dude characters that we talked about in this series, and they don't really do anything in the finale. It was very much female centered, which again, not really saying it's a bad thing. I'm just like, thought it was worth noting because it felt like they were specifically trying to push females rather than just, you could have even stood like one man in there, but it's whatever. I'm not trying to complain too much. That's just my thoughts. Our main characters of this show, of this season at least, we got Captain Carter, Agatha, Howard the Duck. You got the Watchers, what I'm calling them. I don't know what you want to call them, the Council or something, but they are definitely the villain of this show. We got Ultron coming back as a good guy, and then of course we have the Watcher once again. Number 16 is going to be Jessica Jones with a score of 86.15. Critics gave it an 83. Audience gave it an 80. My personal season rankings went up season 2, season 1, and season 3. The audience went season 1, 2, 3, and the critics went 1, 2, 3, and the audience went 1, 3, 2. So the audience actually had season 2 as the lowest, and I had season 2 as the highest. So we're not really agreeing on this one all that much. But getting into my thoughts on season 1, which I have as the second best season. Slow start, great middle, underwhelming setup, but there is a good finale, and there's really good mystery throughout the entirety of Jessica Jones, right? She's a private investigator, so, like, she's basically a spy-ish, and, like, with that obviously comes mystery aspects, and I love mystery. Moving on to our characters, we have Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Trish Walker, Hope Schlottman, Zebediah Kilgrave, who's our villain of this season, and then Jerry Hogarth. Really good cast in this one, especially Jessica, Luke, Trish, and Jerry. Not so much Hope Schlottman, but whatever. Next up is going to be Season 2, which I have as the best season of this show. There's great mystery in this one, even better than Season 1. There was a slow first episode, but a great first half otherwise, and a solid back half. The finale setup was also kind of unclear. Like, I didn't know what direction they were going to be going, but they did have a pretty solid finale. Main character, once again, we do have Jessica Jones, of course, and Trish Walker and Jerry Hogarth. But now we have Malcolm, who is a really good character in this show as well. We got Detective Eddie Costa. He's cool. Then we got Elisa, who is Jessica Jones' mother, and she is our villain of this season, and it's really fun. Okay, at the end of the season, when Trish kills Jessica's mom, dude, that was awesome. See, Season 3 is my least favorite season of this show. Personal thoughts, there was a mid first half with definitely a better back half, but there's still no clear setup to the finale in this show. Good finale, but again, none of these seasons really had a good setup to the finale, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's like, I like to have some idea of what I'm going to get myself into in the last episode, but whatever. This season was pretty decent. It was definitely a step down from the first two, but still very solid. Our main characters, once again, we got Jessica Jones, Malcolm, Trish Walker, and Jerry Hogarth. Now we have Eric Geldon. He's pretty cool, and then Gregory Salinger is our villain. He's a really good villain in here as well. Number 15 is going to be The Runaways with a score of 86.84. This was a show I had no idea even existed, right? I hadn't watched all of these shows before watching them for the purposes of this video and stuff. I had not watched all of these shows before, but I've heard about most of them at least. I'd never even heard of The Runaways, and I was thoroughly surprised, okay, in a very good way. All right, I gave it a score of 86.84. Critics gave it an 84, and audience gave it a 69. So I'm pretty much on line with the critics here. In my personal season rankings with Season 1, Season 3, and Season 2. So Season 3 and 2 are very close, while Season 1 was definitely a step ahead of the other two. But according to both, or according to the audience, they had Season 2 as the best season, and they had Season 3 way below the first two, which I really do not agree with. Also worth noting, Season 2 was my personal worst season, and it actually was 13 episodes as opposed to 10 in Season 1 and Season 3. So being the worst season and also having the most episodes means it's going to hold the most weight and bring this show down even more than what it would rather be if you just averaged out the 3 seasons. But enough of that rant. My Season 1 thoughts. Great start and end. Amazing mystery. Great consistency throughout the entire season. The first episode of this show really hooks you in. If you have never watched this show and have any interest in anything, right? Even if you just look at it from a trailer or something and be like, this seems stupid, watch episode 1, okay? If you watch Season 1, episode 1 and do not immediately get hooked, there's probably something wrong with you, right? I would advise you just to watch the first season. You don't really need to watch Season 2 and Season 3, but Season 1 is a must-watch for any Marvel fan, for any mystery fan, for any fan of TV in general, honestly. Like, this is great. Main characters. We're going to have a lot of main characters. We got Nico Minoru, Carolina Dean, Alex Wilder, Gertrude, Molly, and Chase Stein. And then we have their parents, Tina Minoru, Leslie Dean, Jeffrey Wilder, Jonah, Janet Stein, and Victor Stein. Season 2, who had as the worst of the 3. Solid story, mediocre mystery, not as good as the first season by a long shot. More character dynamicism, though, which is pretty good. Consistently solid. No clear lead up to the finale, but there's a pretty good finale with a cliffhanger, okay? When I'm talking about with the character dynamicism, our story slowed down quite a bit as opposed to Season 1, so we got to spend more time individually growing with our characters, which I thought was pretty good. But our characters, once again, kids, same with the parents, mostly the same, but there is a couple different ones that become more main characters. Like we have Frank Dean, who's a pretty main character in this one when he was not in Season 1, but the rest of them pretty much stay the exact same. Next up is going to be Season 3, which I had as the second best of the 3 seasons. My thoughts on this one: there's a slow start, but a good build-up in the middle. A really good episode 8 when they bring in Cloak and Dagger into this show, which I thought was awesome. And episode 9 was also really good with a real finale, right? Episode 9 was the real finale of this show. Episode 10 kind of exists, but it's like a time travel-esque thing. So episode 9 is the real finale, and episode 10 they go back and do something, but episode 9 is the real finale, and it was really, really solid. Our characters, once again, is the same stuff here. We got Alex Wilder, who was kind of bad in this one, but not like he's not like a main villain, but he's definitely bad at points of this series. Then, of course, you have our parents here. We get a little more variety in here. In the first 2 seasons, our parents, pretty much all the parents, are villains. Right, in this one, it's a little bit different. Right, most of the parents are turning on the good side. We got Morgan Le Fay, who comes in as a villain from outside of the parents. Jonah is always a villain, so he's a villain in this one. You got the magistrate's wife, which is Stacey York, one of the kids' parents, but she's kind of being possessed by Jonah's wife to now be a villain. And then you got Zavin, which is a pretty cool character, I guess, in this one as well. Moving on to number 14 is Agatha All Along with a score of an 87.02. It's only one season, right? But the critics gave it an 84, audience gave it an 83. I was a little bit higher than both of them, but we're pretty close around the same area. Moving on from here, my personal thoughts: great mystery. It's a witch hunt, which I adore, right? Because I adore mystery, and the witch hunt is pretty much all mystery. Like most of those witch hunt episodes are just escape room after escape room after escape room, and like that was awesome. I loved it. I fell in love with the show from those stuff. The start, like the first episode, was solid, not great, but a great middle, slight downtick, but we did get a pretty good ending as well. Main characters: Agatha Harkness. We got Rio Vidal, who's our villain. We got Wiccan, who's I don't know if I want to spoil that, but he is also Billy Maximoff, so that's something. We got Lilia, we got Jennifer, we got Alice, and we have Mrs. Hart. Moving on to number 13 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier with a score of 87.68. Critics gave it 84, audience 81. I'm a little bit ahead of both of them, but not too far off. Season 1 thoughts, which is the only season. Solid start, great middle. I loved the middle, especially when John Walker kills a dude. That's pretty cool. There's no clear setup for the finale, but it is pretty solid. But it is definitely underwhelming. Like it was decent, but mostly I did not enjoy Falcon's huge big speech, or that didn't really sit right with me. Also, like the last half of the episode of the last episode was them rebuilding their boat. It's like, okay, that's cool, but that's how we're gonna end this show. It's like we didn't end it with our actual main conflict. We ended it with, okay, halfway through our episode, we're like, okay, season's over, episode's over, anything important is over. Now we're gonna go rebuild our boat. It's like it makes sense a little bit within the context of the story, but it's like I would have liked to end on something real, but whatever. Main characters are Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, Tim Carter, John Walker, Carly Morgenthau, who's our villain, pretty good villain in this one, and we got Zemo, who, I like Zemo in this show quite a bit. Number 12 is going to be The Punisher with a score of an 87.76. Critics gave it a 64, audience gave it a 79. Specifically, critics did not really like either of these seasons all that much. Audience thought season 1 was pretty good at an 88, and season 2 was pretty bad, or at least comparatively bad, at a 69. Personally, I actually liked season 2 a little bit better than season 1, which is obviously not the popular opinion, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes. My season 1 thoughts: solid story, good start, but a pretty bland first half with a great second half and great action throughout this show. All right, first half, not very good. Second half definitely brought it up quite a bit, but again, overall, it was solid. It was really good still, but first half definitely brings it down a little bit as compared to season 1, or to season 2. Sorry. Our main characters here are Frank Castle, Billy Russo, who's our villain, Gina Madani, Curtis Hoyle, Lewis Wilson, who's also villain-ish here, and Brett Mahoney. Season 2 had a great start, which is obviously better than what I was talking about in season 1. A good middle and an amazing setup to the finale with a great finale. I loved how this show ended. I'm not going to spoil too much of it. Part of that is probably because I don't remember exactly, but it was really fun. Right? Look at our characters. We got Frank Castle again. He's awesome. Billy Russo, another villain in this one, which he's not the main villain at the start, but he does become a main villain, and then Frank Castle kills him, I believe. So that's cool. We got Krista Dumont, Curtis Hoyle once again, Amy Bendix, and John Pilgrim is also a villain. He's a really good villain as well. Number 11 is going to be Cloak and Dagger with a score of 87.78. And our season ranking here is going to be Season 2 being slightly better than Season 1, whereas both the critics and audience enjoyed Season 1 a little bit better. But overall, critics gave this an 87, while the audience gave it a 66. I don't know what the audience is on about, dude. This show was really good. Right? Again, I had no idea this show existed. Right? And it has Olivia Holt in a Marvel show. I feel like I should have known that. I mean, I watched pretty much every single thing Olivia Holt did on Disney Channel and Disney XD. How did I not know she was in a Marvel show? Beats me. But the show is pretty good. Getting into my Season 1 thoughts, which I do, again, have as the worst of the two seasons. The slow first half with a great second half. An amazing episode 9 with a great finale as well. Loved the last couple episodes of this season. Great mystery, completely unpredictable. Like, this show was unpredictable as heck. Dude, it was awesome. I was definitely caught off guard at many times. There's no clear build-up to the finale, and there's not really any conclusion in the finale. But it just leaves me with so many questions and not enough answers, which honestly, something that I was really, really enjoying because I was just so excited to watch Season 2. Main character of this one, we got Tan Bowen and Tyrone Johnson, Bridget O'Reilly, James Connors, who's our villain, we got Gina Johnson, and then Peter Scarborough. Going on to Season 2, my personal thoughts. We had a slow first episode, but basically beyond that, it was pretty good. Good first half, great back half, a great build-up to the finale, and another really good finale. There is less mystery within this season, but it is a better consistent story, and it's more unpredictable, honestly, in a good way. It's like, it's not completely mystery and stuff, but it definitely still makes you question a lot of things, if that makes sense. Moving on to our characters, we have Tandy Bowen, Tyrone Johnson, Bridget O'Reilly / Mayhem, who's our villain, and that's very dynamic there. We got Melissa Bowen, Andre Deschênes, another villain, and then we got Evita Fusilier as well. Number 10 is going to be Iron Fist, with a score of 87.87 and an individual season. I definitely had Season 1 a little bit better than Season 2, which, you know, the critics do not like this show. The critics gave it a 37, audience gave it a 66. I mean, I honestly enjoyed it a lot, right? This is also another thing that I had no idea what it was about. I know I've heard the words Iron Fist and knew it existed as a show. Couldn't tell you who the main character was or what he looked like or even what race he was. I thought it was black. I thought the main character of this show was black. This guy is obviously not black. Shows you how much I know about this show. But, again, critics gave Season 1 a 20? Like, what? I don't understand that at all. My personal thoughts of Season 1, great story and great mystery, good action, slow paced, not in a bad way. Because this one, again, it has a lot of a mystery aspect to it. So having it slow paced honestly works in this show because we kind of get to explain and explore that mystery quite a bit. Also, the characters did. Iron Fist, of course, you got Colin Wigg, Ward Meacham, Joy Meacham, Harold Meacham, who's a villain, and then Madame Gao, who's a villain. Madame Gao is like kind of a recurring villain in a couple different of these New York City-esque, whatever, I don't know what you want to call them, but basically Marvel Netflix shows, right? Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. Madame Gao is kind of intertwined within all of those, which she's really good, okay? Season 2, again, great story and mystery, amazing lead up to the finale with a solid but predictable finale. The finale was very predictable, right? Doesn't mean it was bad, it was just very, very predictable. And again, I really loved both of these seasons, and I just gave Season 1 a little bit higher than Season 2. Main characters, a lot are going to be the same. We got Iron Fist, Colleen Wigg, Ward Meacham, and Joy Meacham. But then we got Typhoid Mary / Mary Walker, who's our villain. She's pretty cool. And then you got Davos, also definitely a villain in this show. Number 9 is going to be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is the big one. I'm not really too excited about this one because it's going to take me like 20 minutes for this show alone. But my whole overall score, 88.06. Critics gave it a 95, audience a 91. And my individual season rankings goes, see if I can do this right, Season 1, then Season 5, then Season 2, then Season 3, then Season 6, then Season 7, then Season 4. You got that? Probably not, but oh well. I do want to talk about a couple things with the audience and the critics for Rotten Tomatoes. I have Season 4 as my worst season. Audience has Season 4 as their best season. Tied for the best with Season 7, but I do not understand that at all. And the critics also have Season 4 as like their 4th best season, right? Also, Season 1 I have as my best season. Critics and audience both have Season 1 as their worst season. That makes zero sense to my brain. Also worth noting that Season 6 and 7 are both only 13 episode seasons as opposed to 22, so they don't hold as much weight as the first 5 seasons. But getting on to Season 1, my personal thoughts, there were very good individual stories with great action and great mystery, and a good overall story. Like, the first half of this season didn't really feel cohesive. Like, it felt like every episode was kind of doing its own thing, which wasn't bad. There were still good episodes, but it's like, not really a lot of continuity. But again, really, really good episodes in their own part, and very good season overall. Main characters, I mean, you got Phil Coulson, Sky Johnson, Melinda May, Fitzsimmons, 2 characters, but I put them into 1 because they're referred basically as the same character, throughout the entire show. You got Grant Ward, who's a mole, in our villain. So at the beginning, we don't know that he's a villain, but then he turns out to be a mole, and I think that's really cool. We got John Garrett also as a villain. And one thing I want to say about Season 1, it was very much like a S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra type of storyline, which was my favorite part about it. Moving on to Season 2, not reading any of that, but you guys can if you want to. Moving on here, my personal thoughts of Season 2. It was also very much split into like 2 different sections, but episode 1 through 10, had a great story and great mystery, but episode 11 through 12 had a bland start. Good plot and mystery, but the start wasn't great. And the finale was pretty good. The build up to the finale was pretty good, but definitely I liked the first half of Season 2 better than the second half of Season 2. Main characters of this one, again, you got Phil Coulson, Sky Johnson, Melinda May, Fitzsimmons, and Grant Ward, who's again a villain in this one. But then you got Jai Ying, who's a villain, and then Daniel Whitehall, who's also a villain, which again, we do have some more S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra type stuff in this one. We also have a lot of stuff to do with Sky and her parents, which is kind of cool, but a little bit worse than what I liked in the first season. Season 3 is going to be my 4th best season. Again, it definitely felt like the first and second halves were very different, right? Episode 1 through 10, very good mystery and story, but episode 11 through 12, a much weaker story with a pretty weak finale. Getting into our characters here, we got Phil Coulson, Daisy Johnson, Melinda May, and Fitzsimmons once again. But then we got Gideon Malik. He's pretty good. Hive's whatever. Lincoln Campbell, kind of solid, but like Season 3 was all about like Inhumans. Sky, Daisy Johnson's origin with the Inhumans, and then Lincoln's also an Inhuman. So we get a lot of stuff with Inhumans in this one, which isn't bad. But again, we're very much straying away from the original plot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra, and now it's like, oh, there's Inhumans. Oh, there's other stuff we'll get into in later seasons, like Season 4. Season 4, my worst season, but it's a lot of people's favorite, which makes no sense to me. But bland start, solid Ghost Rider story. I love the Ghost Rider part of this, but the Ada Cyberverse storyline is not very good. I think it's mid at best, right? Good finale to that, but the whole Ada storyline just wasn't very good, which is why I don't like this one very much. But again, like, we're going from S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra in Season 1 to still some S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra in Season 2 with some more mystery behind Daisy Johnson's origin and her parents. And then Season 3 is like Inhumans. And now Season 4 is like AI and robots. It's like, what are we doing? But yeah, main characters again, of course, we got Phil Coulson, Daisy Johnson, Melinda May, and Fitzsimmons. Then you got Ada as our villain. Robbie Reyes, which is Ghost Rider. He's a villain. I like him a lot. I don't like Ada. Already talked about that. And then we got Mac, Alfonso McKinney, or Mac. He's really cool. And he basically is introduced in Season 4. Getting to Season 5, I have as the second best season of the entire show. Great story and mystery. There's a lot of things happening throughout the season, though. It's very fun and different. Again, a lot of stuff different. This one's like time travel stuff, being in space. It's like very confusing, but it's very, very fun, right? I love this stuff because there's so much mystery behind it. which makes me love it that much more. Because again, if you haven't realized, I love mystery. But getting into our main characters, again, we got Phil Coulson, Daisy Johnson, Melinda May, and Fitzsimmons. We have Mac once again. And now we have Yo-Yo as the main character here. And then our villains, we got Cassius. He's pretty good villain. And then General Hale, actually a villain here. Also, I believe Dove Cameron is in this show for a couple episodes. That's pretty cool. Thought I'd mention it. But yeah, getting on to season 6, I have as the 5th best out of 7 seasons here. Solid first half with a good back chunk, a good lead up, and a good finale. And there's still lots of questions in this show, right? Basically, season 6, it's more time travel stuff. They're in the future, and it's kind of weird, but it's pretty cool. But yeah, main characters of this one, we got Enoch. I love Enoch. Enoch's amazing. I love Enoch. We got Daisy Johnson again, Melinda May, Yo-Yo, Fitzsimmons, and Mac. We actually don't have Coulson in this season. That's definitely worth noting. We have Flint. He's cool. And then Izelle is our villain. I love Izelle as a villain. She's really good. And again, all these characters are amazing, right? Next up is going to be Season 7. Solid start, bland middle, a good end, and it wraps up the series well. So again, the beginning is decent. The middle is kind of like there. But I do like the last few episodes of this season. It definitely does wrap up the series well. But again, I feel like this show definitely went on too long and strayed so far away from the original thing. Because now, like, Season 5 was some time travel stuff. We were in space. Season 6 was very much time travel way in the future. And now Season 7 is more time travel stuff, and now we're in the past. It's like, I feel like they were running out of ideas, and they were just trying stuff. And, like, it didn't suck, but it's like, we could have just ended the show, right? But whatever. Main characters of this one, Enoch once again, Daisy, Melinda May, Yo-Yo, Fitzsimmons, Nathaniel Mack, who's our villain. He's really cool. Or Malik. If you remember Gideon Malik from like season 2 or 3, this is his son, I believe, or grandson or something. We got a lot of time travel stuff, so I'm not exactly sure which one of his descendants they are, but he's a descendant. Yeah, he's a good villain. We got Deke Shaw, who they brought back from the future now to the past. Weird stuff. And then of course we got Mac in this one as well. Also Daniel Sousa's in this season. That's cool. But yeah, number 8 is going to be Agent Carter. We're finally done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now we have Agent Carter. I gave a score of 88.17 with season 1 being significantly better than season 2. I know it's only like 1.35 points, which isn't that much, but pretty significant jump when you're going to see I have a lot of seasons and stuff so closely together. But again, the critics gave it an 86, but the audience gave it a 77, and they both very much agree that season 1 is better than season 2, although they have a way bigger gap than I do. Also worth noting, season 1 was only 8 episodes, while season 2 was 10 episodes. So again, season 2 was the worst season, right? But it had more weight, so it brought the overall score down. But moving into my season 1 thoughts, which again I have as the best of the 2 seasons. Great story, great continuity, great action, and great mystery. Good finale and a good setup to the finale as well. I loved the mystery throughout this entire season. That's what brought me in, because again, I love mystery, and I love Peggy Carter, dude. Moving into the characters here, again, Peggy Carter, of course, Howard Stark, Edwin Jarvis, Daniel Sousa, Daddy Underwood as our villain, and then Victor Ivachenko / Johan Finoff as our villain. Both of those like Russian spy villain dudes right here was really cool. And I love it, dude. This was very much a spy-esque show, which again is stuff that I just love because I love mystery. Getting into season 2, I think it's a pretty good story, but there's not great continuity. We have an amazing start, I thought. Pretty muddled middle, but we do have a good back half with a solid 2-part finale. So again, the start of it definitely brought me in, dude. I was like, wow, this could be really good. Middle is like, oh, okay, maybe not. And then the back half was like, okay, it is still pretty good, but not as good as I thought it was going to be after the first 1 or 2 episodes of the season. Main characters here, we got Peggy Carter, Jack Thompson, Edwin Jarvis, Daniel Sousa, you got Whitney Frost as our villain, and then Jason Wilkes. Moving on. Number 7 is going to be Hawkeye with a score of an 88.55. Critics gave it a 92, while the audience gave it an 88, so I'm pretty close to both of them there. And yeah, it was really, really good. Getting into my personal thoughts, good consistency, good mystery, good side characters. I love Yelena, I love Maya, I love Kingpin, and a great finale as well. I love Hawkeye just like in general. I've loved him for a while. Kate Bishop's really good in this. Let's get to our characters right here though. Again, Kate Bishop, I love her. She's great. Clint Barton, I love him and everything he's in. He's great. Jack Duquesne, he's cool. Eleanor Bishop, she's villainous in this one. She's pretty good. And of course, we got Wilson Fisk as our villain. He's awesome. And then Maya Lopez, which is pretty cool in this one. And again, Yelena Belova is not pictured here, but she also appears and she's cool. But yeah, I really did love this show. We do have quite a bit of mystery in this one as well, which obviously is something I really, really enjoy, if you haven't noticed already. Number 6 is going to be The Defenders, with a score of an 88.86. Critics gave it a 78. Audience gave it a 70. Legitimately, this was the show I was most excited to watch because I did not know it existed. Right? I had watched Daredevil, I'd watched Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. I'd watched all these individual shows, and I'm like, wait, they all take place in New York City. They should do a team up. Like, that would be so cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute, a team up show exists? Like, I was crazy. Like, when I figured out what this show was and that it existed, I was like, dude, I cannot wait to watch this show. I'm so hyped. And it lived up to that hype. At least, to me it did. But, my personal thoughts, dream come true. Once again, like, I didn't know it existed. And in my brain, I was like, these characters should, have a team-up show. And, like, they did. I loved it. I love all these guys in their stories and their shows individually, and I loved seeing them come together. Amazing story, and I love seeing so many beloved characters at once. Like, it is very much like an Avengers movie in my heart, or Avengers show in my heart, because it's awesome to see all these people together, because I just really, really wanted it. I might be overrating it quite a bit, but I don't even care, because I loved this show. Main characters here, we got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Colin Wig, and Claire Temple. So again, our main guys here, of course, we got all the 4 shows with Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. Colin Wig's the main character in Iron Fist, and Claire Temple is pretty much in all of these shows, or at least most of these shows individually, and she's pretty cool as well. We also got Sick, who's obviously in Daredevil, and he's really cool. We got Elektra, who's our villain, who also is manipulated, so it's like, is she really a villain? I mean, yes, but like, is that her? Probably not. But I loved her in Deadpool. We got Wilson Fisk, who's obviously a great villain in Daredevil, not Deadpool, but yeah. And we got Madame Gao, who again I mentioned earlier is just a great, great villain. Moving on to number 5 is Daredevil, the original Daredevil here. I gave it a score of an 89.5. Critics with a 92, audience 89. My original my season rankings are season 2, then season 1, then season 3. 1 and 2 are very close. Season 3 is definitely worse than the other two. According to the critics, they don't necessarily agree. The critics gave season 1 the best, right, 99. They had season 3 at 97, and season 2 way below those two. So I don't agree with them at all. Audience went 1, 2, 3 in order, which I could definitely see that one a lot more than I could see the critics' thoughts. But moving on to my personal thoughts about season 1, which again I have as the second best of the 3 seasons. Great story, amazing action and mystery, compelling backstories, and amazing finale. There's amazing mysteries in the entirety of Daredevil, and also, it's Daredevil. He's awesome. Wilson Fisk, he's awesome. Great side characters as well with Foggy Nelson and Karen Page, right? I love this show. There's not a whole lot I can really hate on, but again, it's really, really good, and I love the backstories we get with both Daredevil and Kingpin / Wilson Fisk. Main characters, of course, Daredevil, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page, Leland Oswald as a villain, Kingpin, Wilson Fisk as a villain, and then Claire Temple, who I mentioned is kind of in all of these shows. But yeah, season 2 I have as the best season. If you're going to ask why, Elektra and the Punisher are in this movie, or in this show, in this season, whatever I'm trying to say. Great action, great plot and mystery, great finale, and I love Elektra and the Punisher. I love those two guys. Well, people, I should say. They're both amazing, and I love this season a little bit more than season 1, pretty much because of those 2 characters. But again, getting into our main guys, we got Daredevil, Foggy Nelson, and Karen Page. We got Punisher, who's a villain in this one, but like, not completely, but the Punisher is an anti-hero, and he's definitely not a good guy in this show. We got Wilson Fisk, who's a villain. Even though he's in jail, he's still definitely a villain. We got Elektra, who is awesome. Stick, who's villainish as well. And we got Nobu. We got a lot of villain-esque people in this show, which is like bro, it was awesome. This season was amazing. Season 3 is definitely the worst of the 3 in my opinion. I still think it had amazing action and solid story, good finale, and a pretty good conclusion to the series. But again, it definitely could have been a little bit better. We also kind of rehashed Wilson Fisk's storyline. He got out of jail, prison, whatever, and now we're just kind of redoing what season 1 did. But it was still very enjoyable. Getting into our main characters, we got again Daredevil, Foggy Nelson, and Karen Page with Wilson Fisk as a villain. We also got Ben Poindexter, who's a villain. And then we got Nadeem, who he did not deserve what happened to him in this show. But that's all I'm going to say. Moving on to number 4 is Moon Knight. I gave this a score of 89.6. Critics with an 86 and audience with an 88. So I'm not too far ahead of both of those guys there. It was very good, and most people agree, it seems like. My personal thoughts: good action, great mystery, very confusing. Probably the most confusing show I've ever watched in my life. Like, I don't even know what was going on. But it definitely makes you want more. And there's a very good finale, but I'm still left with so many questions about this. I would love to see a follow-up of Moon Knight Season 2, or just at least see him come in an Avengers movie or something, so we can at least get a little bit more on this story. But it was very confusing. But I kind of loved it for those same reasons. Main characters, we got Mark Spector / Stephen Grant / Moon Knight. It's very confusing to even talk about him. But we got Layla, we got Arthur Harrow, who's a villain. We got Taweret, who just is kind of crazy. We got Khonshu, who's really cool. And we got Amit, who's also a villain. Number 3 is going to be WandaVision with a score of 90.07. Critics gave it a 92 and the audience at 88, so I am right in the middle there. Pretty much, they all seem to very much enjoy it. I feel like a lot of people are going to say it's overrated, but honestly, I love Scarlet Witch / Wanda, right, more than I feel like most people do, or most people should, right? I think she legitimately could be my favorite MCU character that exists. So I do love this show a lot because of that. My personal thoughts: definitely a weird start, but it is pretty solid as well. Definitely picks up after that, an amazing finale and a great mystery throughout. The entire mystery of just what is Westview and everything that comes with that, I thought was really, really fun, and I definitely enjoy it. And I enjoy all the characters in this show, right? Being Wanda, of course, Vision, Darcy Lewis. I've mentioned that I liked her a lot in my previous video. Agatha Harkness, I love her. Monica Rambeau, she's cool. And then Billy and Tommy are there. Don't have strong feelings about them. Number 2 is going to be Daredevil Born Again. So I love that they brought this back as an official MCU show, right? It was awesome. 91.11 is my rating. Critics give it 87, audience at 80. So they seem to not like this as much as most of the original 3 seasons of Daredevil, which I don't understand, because I had this over any particular season of Daredevil. At least I think so. Definitely better than 2 of the 3 seasons, right? So I don't understand why they didn't like it as much. But let's get into my personal thoughts. Good start, great first half, and an amazing last third specifically, right? There's only 9 episodes. So like the first 4 to 5 episodes were really good, right? Really great, honestly. But episode like 6 or 5 and 6 or something like that were like kind of mid, honestly. But again, very much made up for it with the great third at the end. And there's great action and good mystery throughout the entire thing. Season 1 also very much hooks you in with Foggy Nelson dying. It's like, whoa. I thought they were all supposed to be together and relive all these characters. So I was like, nope, he's dead. I was like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Main characters are Daredevil, Kingpin, who's our villain, of course, Punisher. We got Vanessa Fisk, who's a villain in this one. Like, she's in the other Daredevil seasons, but she's not really a villain. She's an accomplice to Kingpin, but in this one, she's like specifically a villain. We got White Tiger, and then we got Muse, who's also a villain. Muse is crazy, right? And also, again, the Punisher is a main character in this season, which is why I love it a lot as well, because, I mean, I love the Punisher. So, moving on from there, number 1, of course, is going to be Loki. Was there anything else that was even going to be up for debate? Loki's the best show in MCU, right? I feel like that's not really controversial, right? I give it a score of 93.27 with individual season scores. I actually had season 2 a little bit better than season 1. According to Rotten Tomatoes, they liked season 1 a little bit better than season 2, but not by a whole lot. But again, I did think season 2 was slightly better than season 1. My personal thoughts of season 1: I had great mystery, Great start. There's no clear setup for the finale, which is one of the only things I can really hate on it for. But it still had an amazing finale with a very important, very big cliffhanger, dude. Like, this was an amazing season, and I did not think they were going to be able to top it with season 2. But honestly, I think they did. Right? But again, I love mystery, and this show is all about mystery, right? TVA is awesome. Characters are awesome. Again, our characters here are Loki, Mobius, Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson's he's awesome. And like everything he's in, he's awesome. We got Sylvie, we got Kang as our villain, which he feels like a legitimate villain in this one, and like you should fear him. We got Ravonna Renslayer, who's also a villain, and then Hunter B15. Season 2, I think, was better than Season 1 for a little bit of reasons that we'll talk about. It did have a slowish start, but it still wasn't bad, right? Amazing middle and an amazing game with a very good setup for the finale with an amazing finale. Like, pretty much beside Episode 1 and maybe part of Episode 2, no, pretty much just Episode 1, the entirety of the rest of this season was amazing. I adored pretty much every single second of watching this. Getting into our main characters with a lot of the same people, right? You got Loki, Mobius, and Sylvie. Now you got Victor Timely, who obviously is a Kang variant, but he's not Kang himself technically, but he's definitely our villain here. Miss Minutes, she is very shady. And everything going on with her, obviously she's a villain, and it's like really cool to see everything going on with Miss Minutes. Is like I loved it. And then Ouroboros, he's pretty cool as well, right? I like him a lot in this season. That's going to be it for that. This is a simple view of all the 27 shows, so you can look at this if you want to. I'm not going to read them off to you, but you can look at that for what it is. I will say that there is so much stuff that is very, very close together, so don't get mad too much about the rankings. Just look more about the individual gradings or ratings for each show. But now this next one is going to be my individual season rankings. So pretty much every single season of all these shows individually ranked. So you can see what I have as the best season of everything in Marvel. You can see I do have Loki season 2 and season 1 as the top 2 seasons. So even though, you know, there are other seasons that were great, like Loki was just better in both seasons in every way than every other show, which is pretty impressive. But that's pretty much going to be all I have to say about that. You guys can, again, look at it, take a picture if you want to, but that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back later this week or next week or whenever I will have one more MCU video coming out for you guys. And make sure to check my movie video as well. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.